Well, hello, Bucket Pond friends and family. Today we are doing some maintenance on the aquariums. This is Sundays with Bucket Ponds, episode 7. I have a big surprise in this video, and we'll see it here about halfway through. I won't make you wait until the end. But we're going to start with working on this tank here, which was built for the mutagen pond strain of our bladder snails. There's a link to this build in the description below if you'd like to see how it was built and when it was put together. But it's been running for a few weeks now, and we do need the flashlight for this build because it is overgrown with hornwort. Yes. I love this plant. It's an excellent, very fast grower. And we're going to work on this tank a little bit. We'll need our aquarium tools today, our long scissors and our long tweezers. We're going to be pulling out a ton of this hornwort. And, guys, it's kind of crazy how much has grown in here. It's just a a gallon jar. And it's only been running for a few weeks. I don't add any liquid fertilizers or anything like that. This jar was meant to raise bladder snails from a pond that I have out back, which was contaminated. It was polluted, and it was causing our snails to develop some very unusual growths and appendages. So I built this aquarium to house them, and you'll see a few of their offspring mixed in with the hornwort as hitchhikers. But just look at all this hornwort, you guys. What well, I don't know, 6 or 8 feet in total I removed from this tank. It's crazy. And this is good stuff. I will use this in another aquarium here in just a few minutes. I love it. I think it's excellent. I've noticed that my hornwort tanks, the ones that really get dominated by the hornwort, they tend to stay clear. We don't get the green water in there so much. So I will be using this in a few other projects. Unfortunately, I have not got it established in my fish tanks, which sounds kind of funny. But I have a really, really high water flow in my fish tanks, and it tends to cause the hornwort to get caught in the filter. So I'm still working on that. But for our jar aquariums, it works wonders. It's amazing. Now, I do have several different strains of bladder snails that I've been isolating and raising separately. So I'll have to be careful with this hornwort because it is covered in hatchlings, young bladder snails, ready to invade a new aquarium as hitchhikers, which, they are famous for doing this. But the tank looks good. I'm going to clean it up just a little bit. Things do get kind of dusty in here. And, guys, I was looking at the aquarium and I noticed that we had a ton of microfauna in here. We have an explosion of microfauna. Unexpected, but they are here. And at first I thought these were Daphnia. Just looking at the tank from a distance, we have this happening in some of my smaller jars. We just happen to set up a nice Daphnia tank here and there, and they just explode. So I was taking some samples because, Daphnia tend to get to a huge population and then they crash. So I like to be ready for that and remove a bunch of them and start new cultures and things. But while I was doing that, I happened to notice that these guys don't move exactly like our Daphnia do. So I got that macro lens out, and they're not Daphnia at all. These are my original ostracods, you guys. We have not seen them in an open aquarium for at least a year or two. I think it's really cool. It's a big surprise finding them in here. These guys are ostracods. They are seed shrimp, and you see why. They're kind of like a little seed. It's a little shell with a full tiny shrimp inside. And these guys were lost to me about a year or so ago when we encountered a new species of ostracods, which kind of replaced them, which outcompeted them for their niche in my ecosystems. So we kind of lost these guys, and we've only seen them in the sealed ecospheres since then. But here they are. For one reason or another, they have dominated this aquarium, and they are now the dominant life form in here. But these guys are a little different than my other ostracods. They aren't quite as aggressive. They won't stress out the snails as badly, and they don't switch to the predator meat-eating mode that our other ostracods will switch into from time to time. We do have a few bladder snails in here. These guys are direct descendants of the giant snail, codename Hulk. Kind of lame. But yes, these are Hulk's descendants, and unfortunately, I don't see any gigantism. I don't see any unusual morphology with these snails. I think that a lot of those changes that we were seeing were like a one-off. It wasn't passed down genetically. But that's okay. It's probably for the best. We'll continue to explore other ideas and look for more mutated bladder snails. That's not out of the realm of possibility. But I'm excited to see all of our ostracods in here, you guys. It's like running into an old friend at the grocery store. I'm so happy to see them. So I did start several side cultures to hopefully get them running again here in the Bucket Ponds fish room. And it's kind of unsettling because in the tanks right next door, there are the evil, aggressive ostracods waiting to invade. So who knows what might happen. I am now going to add some cucumber slices to feed the tank. The snail population is kind of low because I have been scaling back the feeding schedule a little bit, but I did not expect to have so many other little mouths to feed in here, all the little microfauna, all the ostracods. So I've added extra food. We've stepped up the feeding schedule to account for all the hungry little critters inside, and to make sure that our snails actually get some of those cucumber slices. I am going to wipe off the rim of the jar, get it nice and clean, and it'll be able to run for another month or so before I have to dust it off again. So a big part of this, you guys, was I just wanted to show you my maintenance routine. I'm trying to be more genuine, more open with you guys. And lately, all I've been showing are builds and some collection trips. And those are fun. But maintenance is important. I do have to maintain what we have. And I typically just do this on my own. But I thought you guys might like to see, and just look how beautiful the tank is. That is a nice jar aquarium. I mean, you can't argue with that. It looks good. It's well populated. It's planted. It's all natural. There's no anything in here. Just an air pump. Just an air stone. And I should mention that all of my jars are sharing a single air pump. Yes, I had this crazy Chinese air pump. It's working all of the aquariums right now. And it's very effective. I'll have to show you, maybe do a product review if you guys would like to see that. At least a little discussion about it. Maybe some kind of bonus video. Here's another tank. I built this one off screen to contain the guppy tank bladder snail strain. So that's my mixed bladder snail bloodline from the breeding program that has encountered all sorts of different bladder snails, all of the same species, brought together and crossed and mixed, and resulting in some tough little bladder snails. Yeah. I am going to run a water change on this tank. I really like seeing those bubbles go through the water change equipment here. And the equipment that I'm using is just a clear piece of Aquarium airline, the cheap silicone type. But in this tank, you guys, we do have some bladder snails, of course, but we also have the other version of our ostracods, the other species. So this particular species of ostracod has been very interesting to me since they appeared in our jar aquariums about a year or two ago. These guys were cultured from some commercially available compost. Yeah, I purchased a bag of compost and cultured these creatures out of that. Now, they are very different from my other species. These guys are aggressive. They will attack and kill snails and most likely fish and other animals as well, especially when there's no other food available. Typically, ostracods are scavengers. They're peaceful. But some species, in times of need, can become predators, and that's these guys right here. But I have come up with some theories about them, and I'd like to share them today. So I believe that these ostracods actually live on land. I know that sounds a little crazy, but some species can live in moist, foresty type environments, and they did come from compost. So I believe that's their origin, and I think that explains some of their behavior as well. They don't live in a pond necessarily. They live in a very tough environment. They have to breed quickly. They have to feed on anything they can find. They have to work hard. And I think that's resulted in these tough as nails ostracods. That's my theory anyway. It might also explain the differences in their body shape, their shell shape. But yeah, guys, I'm going to clean this tank up. I like doing water changes on these aquariums about once a month. There's roots on the pothos, by the way. It looks like I am successful with growing the pothos. Thank you for your tips, you guys. It's actually very easy. But I want to show you my maintenance routine. And so, yeah, water change about once a month. It depends on the tank. In the previous aquarium, we did not have to change the water because everything looked beautiful. In this build, our hornwort has grown very slowly, and it looks like we have a problem with the ostracods taking over the tank and most likely hunting the snails. So I'm going to add a bunch more of our hornwort here to hopefully add some cover for the bladder snails. And I don't mind mixing the mutagen pond strain with the snails that were here already. It's totally fine. This is actually a mixed culture, so the bloodline is not too important, especially when there are so few snails left in here. Luckily, we have a bunch on hand elsewhere. But yeah, so we're going to clean this jar up, and if nothing else, this might become a very interesting ostracod culture. And I like that. I'm okay with that. Now, having these two different species of seed shrimp, of ostracods, I will have to be careful not to cross-contaminate these tanks, as those more aggressive individuals will kill the others. They will likely eat them. I can't guarantee that, but I can tell you that they will replace them. So, yeah. It's kind of like watching an invasive species take over a location firsthand. It's very interesting. And seeing that effect here in the fish room has really taught me a lot, guys. Be very, very careful with your pets, with what you do. That's one reason that I advocate, staying native as much as you can. And I know that's a trend right now, but I'm not talking about your backyard. I'm talking about your jar aquarium. When you can, if you have a pond on your property, go out there, maybe get you a pond plant. Try that in your fish tank. Maybe not your fish tank. Try that in your bucket pond or your jar aquarium, and you may be surprised. Some species are very well adapted. Now I am going to add a few chunks of marble in here, and I did add that hornwort that we removed from the other tank. That marble will help to balance the pH. I didn't test the water parameters. I can just kind of tell. I know it sounds corny, but with these jars, I can kind of get an idea of what's going wrong just by interacting with the aquarium a bit. And I can test pH and stuff, but with such a low water volume, this is only a half-gallon jar, those pH tests and stuff can be somewhat unreliable. Conditions can change based on time of day, based on how many people are in the room. I know it sounds weird, but I don't worry about that too much. Ammonia and things like that would be important, but I can tell you the tank is healthy. So yeah, guys, we checked out a water change on the jar aquariums. You see how I do it? Real simple, real easy, and you get to feel like a mad scientist when you're watching all the water move around. But you also saw the big surprise of my old ostracods are back. I'm so happy about that. I hope that someone out there is feeling the passion and enthusiasm that I feel right now. Again, it's like seeing an old friend that you haven't met in quite a while. So I'm going to run a little maintenance on the rest of these aquariums, and yeah. For next month, for the coming weeks of the series, I'm looking for more collection trips. I'm trying to find new locations, and I'm also looking for suggestions from you guys. It turns out some of my best content and some of my best projects have been inspired by you, by your simple ideas and things that you share with the community. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching. I made this video a little bit shorter to, hopefully narrow down how much time people want to spend on this type of content. I personally could do this all day. I could talk about this stuff all day. And hopefully one day we can start live streaming, and maybe I can get over my antisocial tendencies and get connected with a few other channels out there. There's a lot of interesting people right now coming up on YouTube. Lots of interesting projects. Some beautiful, beautiful builds I've seen. People out there building their own microscopes and stuff, and I think that's really cool. Yeah, what we see in the news and what we see out in the world isn't always so great, but it makes me feel a little better knowing that there are just so many cool people out there. So thanks for watching, guys. Big thank you to my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters. I will one day phase out Patreon because I hardly do anything over there, and I feel so guilty having it and not posting there and stuff. So if you want to support the channel, become a YouTube member or just subscribe. Watch some stuff. Give me some suggestions. That's a great way to support the channel. Costs you nothing. And you can contribute to this hobby that we're building. I don't know what to say. I don't know how many people are out there, rolling up to a ditch, building an aquarium on the scene. I think that's kind of a Bucket Ponds thing. So again, thank you for watching. My name is Bucket Ponds. Please check out the other videos on my channel. I do a weekly video series now. Every Sunday, you'll have a new video. And I do a few YouTube shorts and bonus videos mixed in just for fun. So thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.